Hi everyone. So in this video for the beginners, I'm going to talk about just a couple things that we didn't go over in class, but that are super important. One is the bow here needs to be loosened by turning the screw to the left. So when you put your bow in the case, you want to make sure your hair looks like hair, and you'll just feel that tension go out of the stick. Then when you play, you want to tighten it to the point where it's pretty taut, but you still have a bend. It's usually up here in the upper third of the bow, so you want your stick to be flexible, bending into the hair. If you keep going, eventually it looks like your stick and the hair are parallel, so this is too tight. That stick is not as flexible, so I just bend it in by turning it just a couple times. And if you play and your stick is rubbing on to the strings, so I'm gonna play and the stick is touching the string, then you can go tighter. So feels a little pretty good like that. And different people have different tightnesses that they like, but just kind of use those general guidelines. The other thing you want to do is make sure you rosin your bow. So when you got your violin, it probably came with some rosin. I take my rosin. This is called Salchow rosin, William Salchow, and Salchow is spelled S-A-L-C-H-O-W. I like this because it's not as gritty sounding when I first put it on as like regular block rosin, but really any rosin will do. I take my rosin, which is, if it was new, it'd be smooth. And I'm going to take it and take the screw and just kind of scratch it and open it up. So I do that like once in a blue moon when I feel like the rosin gets smoothed out and it's not coming off. I'll just kind of scratch it and you'll see some rosin dust. And then I go up and down my bow and I just scrub it in. If your bow doesn't have any rosin on it because you have new hair, then you really have to scrub for like 3 minutes or something. But yeah, I just put about that much rosin on about every day. So if you notice your bow's not working, usually you need more rosin. And if you feel like, oops, I put too much on, there's rosin dust flying off my violin, you can just take a paper towel and wipe that off. Okay. So we talked about holding the bow, and I'm going to just go ahead and do the violin bow, fiddle bow. So we start upside down, and it's really important that your thumb is standing up like this. So if I drew a dot on the tip of my thumb here, I would want to hide the dot. So that's super important that it's not poking through. So it's like this, and then pinky is going to go on top here. And you can just see I've got spaces in between my fingers, a bigger space here usually. This finger is going to be at about the first crease. You don't want to go to the big knuckle here because then you're going to really lock your fingers in. So that's kind of a death grip. So I pull it back. So we're up like this. The thumb is bent. Pinky is curved. Pinky does all the balancing, so that's super important. And then when I flip everything over, the pinky looks like this, nice and curved, and all the weight is in the pinky. The pinky is the spring. And so all of my fingers can be flexible on the bow. Like that. Okay. Yeah, so it's the pinky and thumb that you constantly want to check when you first start. So if you just focus on spending your whole first week, trying to get the bow hold as comfortable as possible, make sure you're not squeezing it, or, it shouldn't look like a claw. If that happens, just shake out and start over. And then practice just turning your wrist like this throughout your day and getting that pinky nice and strong. If you find these two fingers are coming up, it means they're trying to help the pinky balance, and you really want to try to straighten the pinky. So yeah, keep them over. Okay, then holding the violin We just go up to your shoulder, and we're going to keep the hand here, and then you can jump your fingers over, slide down. Hand position, I've got my thumb usually opposite my first finger. You can see there's a space here, so you don't want to be like this. Fingers are way too high, so bring everything down. And I'm all the way back, and I take my wrist and I turn it so that all my fingers are floating over the fingerboard like little clouds. You don't ever want to do this. And when we start putting our fingers down next week, you'll notice that when you put your fingers down, especially like third finger, this third one, you'll want to squeeze. So no squeezing, but just practice your hokum style bowing. With a proper wrist position, and you'll be getting ready for the next week. Okay, I think that's all that I wanted to go over in this video. So we'll see you next week, and we'll get to playing some fiddle tunes and have a lot of fun. Okay, have a great week. See you soon.